Hello, everyone. It's Mrs. Wallace, your friendly librarian. I'm here to tell you a little bit more about some of the great books that are going to be featured in our virtual book fair. Remember, the virtual book fair runs from May 11th to May 24th. The link for shopping is right below. And any book that you buy from our wonderful virtual book fair, 25% of the proceeds comes back to the Collegium Library so we can spend it on books and resources for you. That's right. So last time I focused a little bit on realistic and historical fiction, and this time I'm going to focus on fantasy and science fiction. So here's a sampling of some of the great books that are considered fantasy or science fiction that are in the virtual book fair. The first one is called A Drop of Hope, and this one is considered a fantasy book. A well, a wish, and a little drop of hope. Times are tough, jobs are scarce, and miracles are in short supply. But something strange is happening in Cliffs Donnelly's Ohio. An old well has suddenly impossibly begun to grant wishes, and three sixth graders are the only ones who know why. Ernest Wilmette believes a good deed makes magic happen. Ryan Hardy thinks they should just mind their own business. Lizzie McComber believes in facts, not fairy tales. Of course, if you don't have to believe in wishes to make one. As more wishes are made, the well's true secret gets harder and harder to keep. Ernest, Ryan, and Lizzie know they can fix the world, but in their own little corner of it, they can give everyone a little hope, one wish at a time. So if you like fantasy book, this is considered a middle grade book. So it's a great journey between these three students and the wishes that they make. The next book I'm going to give you a clip of is science fiction, and it is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. That's right. It comes out on May 19th, so you have to wait until May 19th to buy it from the virtual fair. But for those of you who are not fans of the Hunger Games series, this is a prequel, or in other words, a book that comes before the Hunger Games trilogy. So this actually is the time when President Snow was in school when the Hunger Games were just a new thing. So the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes revisits Panem, but 64 years before the events of the Hunger Games trilogy. And it starts in the morning of the reaping of the 10th Hunger Games. So that's where we meet the future President Snow. We find out who he is, how he came to be, and that he may be a hero in his early tale more so than a villain. The cool thing about this book is that there's also an amazing journal that goes with it. So, those of you who love to write or just love to jot things down, this amazing journal goes along with it too. So, you should definitely get that along with The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which comes out May 19th. Another fantasy book, it's kind of fantasy and adventure, is called The Girl Who Speaks Bear. They call me Yanka, the bear, not because of where I was found. Only a few people know about that. They call me Yanka the bear because I am so big and strong. Discovered in a bear cave as a baby, 12-year-old Yanka dreams of knowing who she really is. Although Yanka is happy at home with her loving foster mother, she feels out of place in the village where the other children mock her for her unusual size and strength. So when Yanka wakes up one morning to find her legs have become bear legs, she knows she has no choice but to leave her village. She has to find somewhere she truly belongs. She ventures into the snow forest with her pet weasel Mousetrap in search of the truth about her past. But deep in the forest, there are many dangers, and Yanka discovers that even the most fantastic stories she grew up hearing are true. And just as she draws close to discovering who she really is, something terrifying happens that could trap her in the forest forever. So, those of you who like a little adventure but also love Native American stories, you will definitely love The Girl Who Speaks Bear. Another fantasy adventure is considered The Midnight Hour. When strange late night letters start arriving at home, Emily's parents are set off to investigate. But when her parents disappear completely and Emily is left home alone to face the weird strangers that begin to appear at her door, she takes all the clues at her disposal and makes for the place where the letters came from, the mysterious night post. What she'll discover is the secret world of the Midnight Hour, a Victorian London frozen in time full of magic and monsters. Kept safe by an age-old agreement, the night folk have been exiled to a parallel world that can only be accessed by a selected few, including the mail carriers of the infamous night posts that operate between the two worlds. Emily's parents are key players in keeping the night folk safe, but when the division of the two worlds is threatened, Emily must search for her parents while navigating this dark and unknown version of London. Armed only with a packed lunch, her very sleepy pocket hedgehog, and her infamously big argumentative mouth, she must escape bloodthirsty creatures of the night, figure out her own family secrets, and maybe, just maybe, save the world. This is a frightening and enchanting story, a world built out of creatures from our worst fears who became relatable, fully formed characters, unlike any we've seen in these strangers of parallel worlds band together to save the day. So think, if you're Harry Potter fans, you'll definitely love this. If you're Stranger Things fans, you'll definitely love this. So that's The Midnight Hour. Uh, this next book is a science fiction book. It's called The Loop, and this is actually a YA or a young adult book. So just a warning on this one. It's Luca Kane's 16th birthday, and he's been inside the loop for over 2 years. Every inmate is serving a death sentence with the option to push back their execution date by 6 months if they opt into delays, scientific and medical experiments for the benefit of the elite in the outside world. But rumors of a war on the outside are spreading amongst the inmates, and before they know it, their torturous routine becomes disrupted. The government issued rain stops fall the government issued rain stops falling. Strange things are happening to the guards, and it's not long until the inmates are left alone inside the prison. Were the chains that shackled Luca to his cell the only instruments left to keep him safe? In a thrilling shift, he must overcome fellow prisoners hell bent on killing him, the warden losing her mind, the rabid rats in the train tunnels, and a population turned into murderous monsters to try and break out of the loop, save his family, and discover who is responsible for the chaos that has been inflicted upon the world. So if you like The Maze Runner, you'll definitely like The Loop. So The Loop again is YA, just a heads up on that, and it is considered science fiction. The last book I'm going to share with you is also a science fiction book and from a very popular series, uh, the Jedi Academy. So those of you who are fans of Jedi Academy, it's kind of written in a way that Wimpy Kid is, where it's got some comics in there, some journal entries, and there's a story. Okay, this one is the final installment of Jedi Academy called The Last Jedi. As told through a mix of comics, doodles, and journal entries, Christina Starspeeder takes on a new adventure at the Advanced Jedi Academy campus. There are unfamiliar faces and old ones too, but one thing remains the same. Jedi Academy is full of laughs and warm moments that fans and readers discovering the series for the first time will love. So again, this is the last book in the Jedi Academy books. So if you like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, this is definitely something to try. So all of those books are considered fantasy or science fiction and great picks that you can get at the virtual book fair. So thanks for listening, and hopefully we'll see you buy some of these books at our virtual book fair. Thanks again.